It is the noontime Saturday of May 14th, 2016, and this is Arcola, Saskatchewan. Looking southward. Indeed. On North Main stands this old church. There was a Methodist church in town from 1906. I don't think this is it though. Maybe Anglican. The Odd Fellows Hall frame built up there in 1918. Looking north up Main. Much of Arcola's business district is a mile north out there on Highway 13, the Red Coat Trail. There's the fire hall. There's convenience stores out there on the highway, gas stations, and a real nice view of the stagnant ice and ridged moraines that make up Moose Mountain a few miles north, rising 200 meters above the surrounding plains. And the land titles building, completed in 1912, it's a Historian Van Egmond design in Romanesque and classical revival style, has served as the school district offices and an art gallery lately, Mountain Avenue westward. And looking southward down Main Street, past the old town hall, opera house, and main fire station. Roughly across Main from the land titles building is the post office here. The Clare Post Office was the first one established in the neighborhood on April the 1st, 1884 by Thomas Hillsop, likely in his farmhouse parlor about 3 miles west of here. And there he stands at the head of Main Street. The rural post office of Arcola was opened on February the 1st, 1889 by Peter McClellan, just to the north of town. Both these offices were closed on March 31st, 1901, the day before Dougal Strachan opened the Arcola Post Office on the town site. The big John R. Mears hardware store stood on the corner there. The Arcola Hotel there dates from early years. On the corner of Main and Souris here is the Merchants Bank, dating from 1905. It was the post office for quite a while. The current post office is just beyond the blue building on the right there. The old town hall was built in 1905 with local bricks. The town was incorporated November the 20th, 1903. That's the current town office right there in the corner facing the surviving false front. McKay and Burroughs livery stable used to stand right here to get your used horses. The pharmacy building there dates from 1903. Donaldson's Drugs might have been in there. John R. Mears Hardware occupied the corner down on Railway and Main there. Where stands the credit union across from the Merchants Bank was the Hamlin Brother department store for years and years. F.D. Culp watchmaker was in here, furniture store, cafe, Avery's Boot and Shoe. Recalling the town's early association with the clay industry is this potter's studio in the law office building dating from 1916. The brick plant stood to the east of town. Most of the buildings here are made of local brick. Arcola has long had an interest in the performing arts, as evidenced by the McMurray Theatre there. The Union Bank dates from 1905. Looking south along the front of the Merchants Bank on Main Street. The Hamlin Brothers two-story building that stood right on the corner there looked to be brick built as well. The far end of the block was the Massey Harris dealership, a Carefoot machine shop, the current town hall. Before it was a town, Arcola was a village incorporated on April 11th, 1901 in the Assiniboia district of the Northwest Territories. The old town hall is now Buddy's Pub. I don't know what the opera room is used for or what's in the old fire hall.
Do you want a card or anything?
Sure, yeah, that'd be nice.
Depicting the southwest end of Main Street. And at night,
Okay, they're both 20? Okay.
Yeah. Where Georgia is kind of an interesting little town.
Yes,
Did
we
you check
walked
it out?
through there too,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we had supper there last night.
Yeah. What's the artist's name? Who painted these?
Lee Robinson?
Lee Robinson, eh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Have
Right around the corner east on the railway from Maine is the museum. Old Rumley oil pull. These are Treaty 4 lands signed in 1874 between the Crees, Assiniboine, and a representative of Queen Victoria herself. Settlers began arriving here in 1882 from Britain and Ontario, United States. This is the museum, Carlisle Street. Building due westward from Souris, Manitoba, just below the main line at Brandon. CP ran steel along this right-of-way in 1901. Here they stopped for 2 seasons, and Arcola was the railhead for all the area west. And this is Saskatchewan Wheat Pool 684, built in 1927, I believe. It was twinned up with the Western Elevator building from 1912. There was at least a score of companies occupying the 7 elevators that stood here at any one time over the years. CP's station stood where the office building does now. It was custom built in the year 1900 at mile 96.7 on the Arcola sub from Souris, Manitoba, the end of the line. There's the Arcola Hotel down there. Station was demolished at a date unknown, and the rail line was pulled out in 2004. The grandest church in town was built to St. Andrew's Presbyterian in 1906 at the corner of Carlisle Street and Mountain Avenue, 2 blocks to the north of the railway tracks. This building symbolizes the enthusiasm and confidence that buoyed Arcola in the early days. On Monday, the 10th of June 1901, CP drove its steel into town, and this place just boomed. As buildings left and right made of stone and brick went up, permanent buildings, public buildings that were planned and built, great ones. For 2 years, this was the railhead. And this is the school farther out on Mountain or Souris Avenue. Come 1908, the 2 blocks of the public and the high school stood here, 2 stories high. Farther east on Souris is the Story and Van Egmond designed courthouse from 1908. They were an architectural firm that was very influential in the early development of Saskatchewan. Lots of buildings were designed and built by them. There's the rec center across on the other side of the slough in there. And a little nod to the oil industry. The Bakken oil pool is about 2 miles below our feet here. Looking north and west from Grid Road 604 on the east side of town, also known as Range Road 43 west of the 2nd. The medical clinic is right behind the Prairie Place Hall there. Those are the fairgrounds up there, Ball Diamonds. There's an annual fair, Ag Days. There's a little glimpse of Moose Mountain about 6 miles away. Arcola has a hospital as well as a medical clinic. The Brock Union Hospital was built here in 1926, but I don't see it anywhere. The population of Arcola is up to 657 the census year of 2016. Looking across an old slough that used to divide the town almost in half, the north from the south. There's the back of the courthouse over there on Souris Avenue. Yes, Arcola was flying high until about 1910 when the Canadian Northern decided to drop a line down from Merrifield on its Brandon-Regina main line to the coal fields at Bien Fate. They chose to cross the CPR at Carlisle, 10 miles to the east of here. With 2 railroads, the focus of attention turned to Carlisle. Sort of deflated the aspirations of Arcola, Saskatchewan.